Francis. Welcome to Vishwarang 2020.
Hello, nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Yes, and we are all sitting in different corners of the globe. Hector, where are you right now? Where are you joining us from?
Tokyo.
Ah, it's Tokyo. You're in Tokyo. And what about Francis?
I am in Barcelona right now.
All right.
Today, so it's a mild winter here.
Ah, it's winter there. No, we are very, very fortunate to have both the authors of the amazing book called Ikigai on our channel, the Vishwarang Festival. And just to tell all our audience and, tell you, Hector and Francis, this is a 10-day long international festival of literature, art, music, and culture. And today is day 2 of the session. And we have audience from over 20 countries who are tuning in to speak to you, listen to you, and understand more about the philosophy of Ikigai.
That's very nice to be with so many friends from many countries.
Yes.
We are very happy to be here.
Lovely. So I'm going to take a minute to introduce both of you before we start our chat. So dear audience, Hector Garcia is a citizen of Japan and he's lived there for over a decade now. He was a former software engineer at CERN in Switzerland before moving to Japan, where he developed voice recognition software and the technology needed for the Silicon Valley startups to enter the Japanese market. He's the creator of the popular blog kirainet.com and the author of A Geek in Japan, a #1 bestseller in Japan. Hector Garcia, very, very happy to have you on our festival today. And I'd also like to introduce...
It's an honor to be here.
Francesc Mirales, if I'm pronouncing that right. He's an award-winning author who has written a number of best-selling self-help and inspirational books. Born in Barcelona, he studied journalism, English literature, and German, and has worked as an editor, a translator, a ghostwriter, and a musician. His novel, Love in Lowercase, has been translated into over 20 languages. Francesc Mirales, such a pleasure having you with us today.
Big pleasure for me and a honor. Thank you for inviting us.
Lovely. So I just want to start off by asking you, how did you both meet and how did you collaborate on writing this book? Because it's often rare that, you see two people working on such a book which has such a deep-rooted philosophy on it. How did this partnership come about?
Okay, actually, we met in Japan. That's the country where Hector has been living, I think, 16 years. He will explain it better. And I was, in the beginning, a novelist. I was writing novels, and one of them called Wabi Sabi had as a scenario the old city of Kyoto. And a common friend introduced us, and then we became friends, and we started seeing each other once a year, making some small trips, talking about books, about actuality, about tendencies, about trends. And then we decided in one of these walks in a park in Tokyo to go to the village of the centenarians in the north of Okinawa. And we started writing this book of Ikigai, but Hector had already written a very important book for me that is A Geek in Japan, that is a very beautiful introduction to Japanese culture. For me, if you go to Japan one day, you need 2 books, The Lonely Planet and the Book of Hector to understand the culture. And so I had already written novels and written about psychology, and we joined forces to do something important together.
Lovely, lovely. And Hector, what are your...
Francis was this type of person who comes to Japan. I think this year he cannot come, but he's been coming to Japan. I don't know if you can count more than 10 times. Once per year, he's coming to Japan as a hobby. And that's how we met. He was coming every year to Japan. That's how we decided to write Ikigai. And after that, we have been written more books. We have published the 2nd book of Ikigai and more books about Japanese culture. So it's yeah, it's like
It's truly a cross-continental collaboration at that. And, I must congratulate you for the enormous success of Ikigai. Everybody in India is talking about it. All of us are, I attended another workshop that you did in India and, absolutely loved it. So just before we get into, more details, so a lot of our viewers don't really understand the Japanese philosophy of Ikigai and what it means. So, maybe Hector, can you take us through,
so
in brief, what is
Ikigai.
Ikigai?
So Ikigai is a Japanese word, and it is composed by several Japanese characters. And the first one means life or being alive. And this meaning can be used for humans or for animals or plants. And the second character, it means something like worthwhile. So it means like being a living being, it is worthwhile. So this is a very literal translation. It gets complicated, but if you put it down together, it would be like saying in English, your purpose of your life, or we like better to say, is that thing that makes you wake up jumping from the bed in the morning. Like you are looking forward to your day. And that when that happens, it means that you are looking forward to your day. That means that you are in a happy time in your life where you're connected with your purpose in life, with your ikigai. If you wake up in the morning and you're not looking forward to your day, you are like hating your boss, or you don't want to do anything this day, that's bad news. That means that you are not living with your ikigai, or you are a little bit lost in life. And that's bad news, but it's also good news because we are here to. That's why we wrote the book. The book is to help you if you are going through hard times in life, which has happened to all of us.
Right.
In fact, before we skipped it, but one of the things that kickstarted the first 2-3 times that Francesc and me met, we didn't write anything together. And we started writing Ikigai together because I was going through a very hard times in my life. And I explained to Francesc what I was going through. And I explained him the word Ikigai, like I explained you today. And Francesc, we were doing this walk that Francesc said in Tokyo, in a garden. And Francesc proposed to me, let's write a book together that will help you to find your Ikigai.
That's beautiful. In fact, I've read that if you don't know what your Ikigai is, your whole aim in life should be to discover it. Is that right,
Exactly.
Francis?
You have stolen our favorite sentence. That was for the ending.
That jumped out at me absolutely when I read that line. I mean, the purpose is to find your Ikigai because that brings the purpose and making life worthwhile.
Yes, of course. Your purpose, if you don't know what you want to do with your life, your purpose is to find this meaning. And especially for young people, it's normal for them not to know what they want to be the purpose of life. You must try many things. You must be in the wrong ways. It's like a scientific process in which you try many things and in the end, you are in the right track. So one Ikigai that everybody has when it comes to life is discovering what is your Ikigai. And that's something that Viktor Frankl, the founder of logotherapy in Central Europe, said, that if you don't know what is your purpose in life, I can give you one for free. Your purpose in life must be to discover what is your purpose in life. So you have always a purpose. There are no excuses.
Yeah. So when you talk about the purpose of life, is it that you find your calling early in life and it stays with you throughout? I mean, is your Ikigai constant, and or can it change? Can you have different Ikigais during your life?
you can have several ikigais, and actually it depends on the character of the person. There are people who follow the same track all their lives because they are passionate with one thing. And this is typical in professions like doctors, like teachers sometimes, philosophers, uh, maybe artists, painters. But what is normal is to change your purpose maybe every 7 years. This is something that has been calculated, estimated.
Really?
So you discover something, and then you put all your heart and all your energy in this new thing, and then you complete your way, and then you come to the conclusion, I know now everything what I can give to this. So I need a new challenge, and I start something new. And so it's totally normal that somebody can be happy when he's young, working in a company, and then you need that your ikigai is building your startup and starting something for you. And then maybe you are older and you want to do something for the community, something for the world, and then you do something more humanitarian. So ikigai changes as much as we change ourselves. When you reinvent yourself, when you are reborn in something new, then your purpose changes too.
So to add to that, what is rare, it can be both, as Francesc explained, but what is rare is most of us, we change through life. And usually, and what is rare is like when you are 5 years old, you start playing the piano and you play piano until you're 85 years old. And that happens sometimes, but we don't see many of those. We admire those people, and that's beautiful, but we don't need to pretend to be like them. If we are jumping around, that's okay. Like every 7 years, for example. What is bad is when you are, for example, you don't recognize when there is a change in you, in your life, and you keep doing what you were doing in your 20s, in your 30s, and maybe in your 30s your ikigai is to focus on raising your kids and taking care of your family, and you keep doing things like what you were doing when you were 20s, and that will start creating tension in your life, and you will start feeling not good. So you have to start having awareness to be always like connected with
How
your
do you
ikigai,
develop
which
this
that's the most difficult thing.
How do you develop this self-awareness to recognize that there is a shift? It could be 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. But I mean, is it a process of introspection? How do you recognize the shifts?
I would
Yes.
say, yes, Hector,
Yes.
please.
So Francis, go on. Go. Yeah.
Maybe we can explain it both. One signal would be boredom. When you are bored with what you like, when you feel there is nothing new that you can learn from that, then it's a signal that maybe this pathway is over, and you must start something new. You need to flow with what you do, and you need to have energy, motivation, illusion. When this goes out, it means that maybe it's no more your way, and you must experience something else.
So boredom is very good signal. Also, what I said before, like when you wake up in the morning, if you're not looking, if it happens 1 day or 2 days per week, that's very human. That's okay, maybe. But if it's happening every day for 1 or 2 months, that's a very bad signal. Like boredom, like Francis said, it's okay to be bored from sometimes. But if every day you're constantly bored and not excited, that's another thing.
Bored, angry, frustrated at what you do.
Yes, all those things, and we all know. And then another sign of like, we all know this. We've all had good times and bad times in life, and when you're in good times, you get bad news on an email or a message, and you care a little bit, but you're happy. It's like, okay. But there are other times where things are not good, and a good way to know that things are not good is that you get some bad news, like 2 emails or something, and you get very angry. Or it can be also with your husband or your wife. So it's one little thing and you get very angry. That means there is something not
Being
wrong with your wife or your husband, but there's something wrong with you, maybe. If it's, again, if it's once, it's okay, but if it's every day, there is something.
yeah, right. So it does take a lot of some amount of being with yourself and understanding and being aware to these moments to recognize that you need to set out on that journey to find your Ikigai.
Yes, of course, you need to practice a little of mindfulness. That is the American word for something that in India you have since 4,000 years.
Yes.
So the Indian cultures knew meditation since the very beginning of
We call it
Hinduism and many other. But nowadays they call it mindfulness because it's something not related with religion. It's something that it's easier to bring it to the office, to the normal life of people working in the cities. But actually mindfulness is contemplating what happens in your body, because the body informs us also. When you have a lot of pain in your back, maybe you are not you are not doing the things that your body needs, and you shouldn't be sitting so long, and maybe your body is telling you, hey, let's go to the forest, let's go to the garden, let's go outside, let's move. And then you can contemplate your mind too. If you feel this boredom that Hector said, if you feel sad, if you feel unmotivated, if you feel melancholic, it means that something must be done, something new must be introduced in your life. So if you have mindfulness of body and mind, you can know which is the moment to change.
Yes, so it's like going back to what you said, it's all about awareness. And I think, as Francesc says, it's like in India, you are the experts of having awareness in life, or maybe ancient, there are lots of ancient techniques, but it can be many kinds of, it can even be kinds of moving meditation. Like, for example, yoga, it's one of the, like, it's moving meditation. I think it helps you to be aware of what's going on and bring everything out. And then, as Francis said, like, once you are aware of something, then the next step is like, okay, I'm not in a good place in life. The next step is to take action, which is always the most important thing in life. It's like to do it, to really start changing things in your life.
So when when I was reading about Ikigai, you actually, it is a Venn diagram, right? And we talk about a balance of what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, and what you can be paid for. And when I started filling out the little sectors in the Venn diagram, it made so much sense. And is it truly possible to find the perfect intersection of
so
what
did you find it? Did you find it? That's awesome that you did it. We recommend.
No, I don't think I found I mean, no, I haven't.
Okay, so what was the circle that you had more trouble?
So it was more the intersections. I think I have found what I love, and I do think what the world needs for what the world needs. But sometimes I do feel that, I wonder, am I good at what I think I'm good at, or am I getting paid for? So really the question is about the balance, right? So you really find that in life, sometimes what you really love doing is not bringing you money, or sometimes where you are going for your job and you're working day in and day out, but really you question, is this making any difference to the world? Or, is this what I love anyway? So, so is it really possible to find that? And should one be hard on yourself to find that perfect spot?
Don't be hard. Don't be hard. It will come up to you. You start changing. In fact, it will stay in your subconscious, these circles. I think it's very good to organize. And then maybe now, 2 months from now, you will be taking a walk and you will remember and say, okay, this is kind of connected. But we are going to give you a little bit of guide. That the circles are very good to start, and it's very good that you make the exercise. But one of the things, for example, what the world needs, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. It's like, oh, like I have to help the whole world. But no, like it can be something very small. What means is like what the people around you and needs.
Okay.
So it can be something as simple as smiling and helping a co-worker that is going through a bad time and
Really?
having a coffee with them. You are acting and helping. It can be like a person in your family, your mom or your dad. You spend 1 hour with them to talk with them. You are changing a little bit of the happiness of that person, and if that person is going to be a little bit more happy, maybe they will start changing their life too, right? It can be, I don't know, something as simple as writing a poem and publishing online, and maybe people will read the poem and they will be inspired to write poems. So that will create like a, so it's not like be overwhelmed, I have to help millions of people and have a charity or something like that. It can be very small, and depending on the person, you can help more people or less. So don't feel
That's
overwhelmed with that.
interesting. So when you say what the world needs, it's not really about going out to change the world. It's not a Mother
It's,
Teresa kind of
it's like
situation.
it's like I always try to think like think also about the butterfly effect. Think about the sphere of what you can influence. If you're a very, very rich people, yes, you can create a charity and help many people, but you don't need to. You can affect people around you with the butterfly effect, and that can be beautiful too.
Okay, right. Francis, I have a
Maybe
question.
Francesc has
Yeah.
something
Yes,
to
So
add
I
to
have
that.
a
think
question on the other
yes.
bit of the circles. And I think most people find the conflict, between what they love and what they get paid for. And I think
Yes.
that's the biggest conflict of most people in their working years.
Yes, what happens is that normally you start working for money, but when you have been spending some years of your life working for a salary, then you feel that you need something else. And this, you need something connected with your talents, something connected with your mission, with your purpose, and ideally, you need something that is helping the world, that is making the difference. So it's normal that maybe you find yourself working in a bank, in an office, in a factory, in an advertising agency, I don't know. And then you feel a call to do something else. And it's possible to change it, but it's not, you cannot do it immediately. You need a period of transition that can be shorter or longer, depending on your needs and your possibilities. Hector and me, we have a very good friend in Spain. His name is Andres Pascual, and he knows India, and he's a big traveler, and he was working as a lawyer. And he was a very good lawyer. He was earning good money, but his Ikigai, his passion was writing. And then he made a plan. And the plan was, how many years do I need to do a living from my novels? So he needed two things: to save money, so to have 1-2 years deposit in case he couldn't get enough money with his books, and writing and writing and writing and learning and having experience and having a better technique. And he needed 10 years. So during 10 years, he kept on working as a lawyer, learning a lot about the profession of writer. And after 10 years, he said, okay, he gave the key of the buffet to a friend and said, this part of my life is over. But there was a transition. For some other people, it can be shorter, but it depends on your family situation, many things.
So you have to consciously take those steps and put in action to move the balance between the circles.
Even you can be somebody very, very busy, and maybe you're working 10 hours a day because you have your own industry, you have your own startup, but maybe you have 1 hour a day in which you are already developing your future. And maybe we like very much the English word, the late bloomers. Sometimes it's when people get retired that they can devote to that passion that is really what the world is asking for them to do. And sometimes you can only do that when your children are older, when you don't need to go to the office, and then maybe you have 10, 15, 20 years of quality left in your life, and then you can see, okay, that's my moment. Now I am going to use my time to give something for the world that will be my legacy.
Okay. No, that's very beautifully put. I think one of the learnings is it's not going to happen by itself. You need to take conscious actions to move, through the circles and move through the,
And
where you
don't
are.
be in a hurry, as Francis said.
Yeah.
When we see it happening to another person, it feels like it was in a moment.
Yeah.
But usually, if you look, a good thing is to read biographies of famous people, and you will see that success doesn't come immediately.
Right.
And in some exceptions, it happens, but it's very rare. It's usually 10, 20 years of effort. So be patient.
Yeah. But Hector, what about the other scenario where somebody knows what they love, they know what they're good at, but they're not able to earn money from it? So typically people with a lot of hobbies and they want to invest, like somebody with a great voice, somebody who's really good at painting, they're so passionate, they want to get into it, but it's not easy to earn money out of some of these areas. So how will they find their Ikigai?
So start small, and again the same thing. Start small and be patient. And these days the possibilities within the internet are endless. And my advice is really start small and think long term. If you love painting, you can start today in the morning. You do your painting and you create an Instagram account and you put the painting on Instagram and you start following people, and in one day nothing will happen usually, and in 1 week no. But if you do this every day for 2-3 years, I guarantee you will have an audience for these kinds of, you're talking about artists, which is difficult, but it is possible. And once you have an audience, you can create an online shop and start sending your art. Like, this is a limited edition print, and this is just an idea. You can start exhibitions, and that will not bring you a lot of money. Let's say that now you are like 2-3 years in, but you will start having some proud. That will help you to motivate you. Okay, now I'm making, I don't know, $200 per month selling my art. The same example can be with music. You can publish music these days online in services like Spotify, and you will start making money if you start having an audience. Now, it is very difficult to start having an audience. You have to be very good, and you have competition. It's for us, from Francesc and me, it's the same. We are writers. It's like there are millions of writers out there, and it's very overwhelming. It's like, whoa. But it is possible. You don't have to think like, oh, it is impossible to make money from this. It's like, it is always possible. You believe it, be patient, keep your main income, and you can think of your main income as helping you with your Ikigai. So it becomes more meaningful. That's, oh, I have my daily job, which is 80% okay, is not 100%, but it allows me on my free time to start doing music or painting. So
So I also read that both of you actually interviewed 100 super centenarians and centenarians to understand happiness. And this was in Okinawa, right?
Yes, it was part
Tell
of
us about that.
Yes, the beginning of the project of Ikigai, the very, very beginning was Hector telling me, Francesc, there is a Japanese word that is beautiful. It's Ikigai and means that. But after that, his father-in-law, that he's in Okinawa and he's a very wise man, a very clever man with a very good in business. He said, hey boys, you are writers, go to the village at the north of Okinawa, because they have the Guinness World Record of life longevity. And so if you go there, you could ask these people, what are their secrets to live so long? Because it's not only that they live long, they live long with a lot of energy, good humor, they are very active, they are very happy people. It's a place where you breathe happiness. Then with Hector, we prepared the trip. We were reading before things that doctors and people specialized in food, in social relations had written about articles, papers, and then we could interview all these people, thanks to Hector that could make the translation from Japanese to write it in our book. And then we discovered that actually these secrets, we could summarize them in some factors. One is not eating too much, the law of 80%, harahachibu, they say in Japanese. They eat always a little less than the hunger they have. They live without stress. It's a very analogic society, going from one house to the other. They are not connected to the social media. Very good relations with the neighbors. They have really a circle of human relations that is very protective, and they don't feel alone. They practice exercise every day. They have this radio tai show that it's a program of exercises that in 2-3 minutes, they wake up the body. And the fifth would be Ikigai, that all of them have a passion in life. And maybe Hector can explain which passion, which Ikigai had these people in Ogimi.
So yeah, like they said we interviewed them. All of them answered to we asked them, what is your Ikigai? And they asked very fast. All of them, which if you do the same experiment in a city, you might not get immediate answers. And there were many related with community and friends and family, and also taking care. They like a lot growing their own food in their backyard. Yes, most of the Ikigais were about building a community and being with the communities. It's a very little village, only 2,800 people. And they were always smiling, by the way.
Meeting so many people above the age of 100 and happy and, going strong must have been a unnerving experience.
And it was very beautiful before the big pandemic. I don't know if it was December or January. I think it was
December.
In December. We came back to the village with National Geographic to shoot a documentary.
First time we went before writing the book in 2015, and then last year in December we went back.
Yes, we went with National Geographic
to shoot just in the nick of time before COVID.
Before a couple of months, 3 months before COVID, to shoot the final minutes of a documentary about anti-aging processes. And then we discovered two things. First, that all important people that we interviewed, the ones who had more participation in our study, they were still alive and in good condition. And then we were brought to the house of a man who was 108, and we found him working in the garden. He was watering the fruit trees. He was smiling. He was receiving the people. He had a bit of problems listening, but he was totally active, entering the house, coming out, showing the garden, giving fruit to us. So we discovered that this kind of simple life, being outside, working with your hands, eating your own food, it's a highway to a long life.
Wow. In fact, some of the words that I think came out of that, which I also, researched on, what I think some of them said was slow down, unhurried life, relax, eat, sleep, stop worrying. So these were some of the words I read that came out of your research.
Yes, actually, if we worry too much, we are going to shorten our life, because constant worrying puts a lot of stress in our lives, and it has a lot of bad hormones that are tiring our system. And then we have worse digestion, we sleep worse, and our cells oxidate quicker. So it's very important to be busy, happily busy with things, instead of thinking of what could happen, what didn't happen, these people, and it was interesting this December when we were with the people of National Geographic, because they hired an American who is living in the island of Okinawa with his wife, that is Japanese. And he said that in the book, we should have put another secret for the long life, that is the philosophy of forgiveness of the people of Okinawa, that they suffered a lot the war, the Second World War. They had an invasion in the field by the American army, but they have thousands of Americans who live in the island nowadays, and they treat them as friends. And one of the secrets to live long is not having any charge for the past, any kind of resentment, of sadness of what happened. And there is even a Okinawan proverb that says, once we are sitting in the same table, we are all brothers and sisters.
That's so beautiful, and it's a very liberating thought to think that you forgive, and that could be. But Hector, do you really believe all of these people in their prime years, when they were trying to make ends meet, careers, kids, is it possible to live without pressure and ambition and stress? Because when you're working towards aspirations, there is a little bit of the struggle, right? And that causes
the stress is good. So let's define a stress, and that we go on in the book. We explain the different. There is a difference between good stress and bad stress, and challenges and having goals and making big efforts in life. That's good, but you have to and being busy, like Francesc explained, like being busy in a good way. You're busy and you're connected with your Ikigai, you're going forward, you have a sense of direction, you're improving, and your things are going better. And you are busy but not stressed. In what way? So if as humans we are designed to have stresses, like peaks of stress, like we can be like several hours, like very, very, like doing something, and that's even good. It gives us energy. Like sometimes when there is a challenge in life and you are against it, it's like, wow, you feel like a rush of hormones, adrenaline and everything. It's like we are animals and we are hunters, like that's very human. And then, but the natural way is that then you should go down out of stress and relax. And in the old times, it was like having dinner after the hunting, and then relax, and then the next day you go again to battle or whatever. And in these days, it's a little bit, you can organize like your life like that. You go to battle, to your job or to your challenge or whatever, and then you relax and do something else. And the weekends you are on your hobbies. The bad thing is that when you start having a stress in your life, which is very mild, you don't really have big challenges, but you are also not like free from anything. You are in the middle. You have a constant noise of little stress constantly, 24 hours. And you start feeling that inside you. You go to sleep at night and you start thinking about something that is worrying you. You wake up first in the morning and you are worried about something. You are with your friends, and instead of listening to them, you are on your smartphone, very worried, looking on your social networks. And you are this constant stress that is 24 hours and is not helping you with anything. That's what, in fact, I would say that that's one of the worst things that you can do that's the underlying cause of many, many illnesses that will kill you. And that's something that in this little village in Okinawa, we didn't see anyone in that constant. We all see these people in Tokyo. I see many of them. So we wrote a book not about Japan, but about this very special place of Japan. In Tokyo is a big city. I guess it's like in in
Oh,
India,
Okinawa sounds so
Mumbai or Delhi, that people are very, you see the people and you can feel it, that they are stressed all the time.
But I have a question on the whole Ikigai philosophy. While it is inward looking and you work on towards the center part of it, the truth is also that we're not in vacuum. There are people, there are influences, there's negativity. You go to work thinking something, but you probably have a bad day with your boss or your colleagues. So how do external factors influence what you are working on the Ikigai? How does that factor in, Francis?
Actually, if you have peace of mind, you can handle much better difficult bosses, difficult parents, friends, anything. So actually, it's a reality that what we experience with the others, it's like a mirror of how we are inside. If you are very nervous, and I start the day shouting at home, when I go to the office, I am going to cause conflict. I am going to find conflict everywhere. If I am totally relaxed, things can happen, but it will stay little. Nothing will grow to become a real problem. So this is something interesting that Dalai Lama said, that he said, it's very easy to have relationships with kind people. But if you want to improve, if you want to be a master, you need to treat difficult people, because difficult people are teaching you the value of patience, of waiting, of reflection, of finding other ways. So they are our masters, actually.
So it's about finding the peace of mind within you.
Yes, if you have peace of mind, everything will be easier, because it's the emotions are like the COVID. They pass to one each other. No? So if somebody is coming to discuss with you, but you feel in peace with yourself, there will be no discussion. You will influence in a positive way. So in the end, what we are and the quality of our life depends on the quality of the emotions of every person that is there. And the only control we have is in our own emotions. I cannot control the emotions of my boss, but if I am in peace, his anger or her anger won't affect me. I am protected.
So can children be taught the principle of Ikigai, and how, from what age can you start talking to them about this or exposing them to this philosophy?
Yeah, actually, yeah, children are naturally connected to Ikigai. If we see little children, they develop naturally their capacities. So you will see a child that is singing all the time, another will be dancing, another will be discussing with others or giving a conference, and there are other children who are more shy, who like working alone. So when we are children, we have Ikigai easily recognizable in us. The problem is that when we become adults, we forget what we were when we were children. And actually, in our book, in our courses, we recommend, when you feel lost in life, to remember who you were when you were a little child. Beautiful. Which were your dreams, what were your capacities, what were your plans, what did you want to do in future, because then maybe you can recover the thread of your life.
Very nice. Very nicely put, that you really look at children and they're in their natural state of happiness, and they're doing what comes naturally to them. So yes, I have a last question for both of you. In fact, I want it individually. If today one wants to embark on the journey of finding that sweet spot of balance and Ikigai, what are the 3-4 things as beginners that people in their teens, 30s, 50s, 70s, how do you start off on this journey? Do you make a list, or how do we do it?
That depends. So always we don't give strict rules, because we are aware of, now we've been like talking about Ikigai. So we wrote the book, and now it's almost in 60 different languages. So there's all types of cultures and people. And I think we don't know. We always ask why is it so popular in India, but we are, in fact, we are two Spanish people who I'm half Japanese, I think. But this philosophy connects with the hearts of so many people around the world, and because we don't give fixed rules. But
Okay.
you were saying about taking notes, there is certain type of personality that they like it. In fact, I am like that. I like taking notes. And that goes back to, so this would be a good first rule, going back to the beginning of the interview that we talk about awareness. The
Yes.
first step to start changing your life to a different direction is to be more aware of what you, it's something, it can be you can divide it so simple as what I like and what I don't like. And you start writing down you can write it every day at the end of it, a very simple diary that you can call it like and dislike, and you write three things you like this day and three things you didn't like. And if you write it down after 15 days, you will see a pattern of things you don't like and things you like. And then you start making a change in your life. Maybe I should not work with this client because it's boring, and maybe I should focus more on this client because I like this, I like them. And that will start becoming bigger, the things that you like. So that's one of the techniques. And we give many of the techniques in the book, like to start, but the having the willingness to start, like you said, you gave the answer. It's like the first step for, if you don't know your Ikigai, is that your Ikigai from today, after listening to us, should be to find your Ikigai. So that's the first step. And the second, start being more aware of what you like and dislike. And the third would be to start taking action towards making changes that will put you in the path of more things that you like. And then the 4 circles, you can do the exercise as you did it. You just write the 4 circles and write inside, and that will be a very powerful tool to start moving you forward.
Thank you, Hector. Francis, what about you?
It was brilliant what Hector said. I would add only one thing, is that create a space. So if you want to have something new, but your calendar, your agenda is full of compromises, it's impossible to develop something new. You need to create at least one oasis of half an hour, 1 hour a day, that is for other things, for future projects, for your future you. So if you don't liberate a little of time, a little of space, it's like not having soil in a garden. You cannot make it anything new grow. So I would say that if you want to have, if you want to give importance to your Ikigai, if you want to give importance to your purpose, keep some hours a week. Maybe it's not possible every day, but maybe 2-3 days in which you have a meeting with yourself, with a notebook, with your pen, alone, taking your tea. And when you create a space, it's like a painter that he's given a canvas that is white. Then you can make something new. But if you are always running from one compromise to the other, from one obligation to the other, you will never have time to grow something new. So give space and time to your passion, even if it's only a little bit every day.
Yeah. Baby steps.
Baby steps. Baby steps that in Japanese, they call it Kaizen. The Kaizen, it's very used in industries, but it's also very useful in psychology, in everyday life. Kaizen is the constant progress with small steps. If you every day do just one thing for your dream, and this one thing can be writing an email to somebody who can help you, reading a chapter of a book, watching a video on YouTube of a master of that, preparing something for your project, even if it's only some minutes a day. If you do it every day, and every day you are getting 1% better, in 100 days, it's 100%. So you're going to go very far with that.
That's such a heartening thought that a small step you take today in 365 days is 365 huge
Totally.
steps that you've taken.
Yes, imagine somebody who cannot speak English or any other language. And you tell to this person, learn one word every day. In 1 year and a half, with 500 words, you can talk almost to anyone. So there is a big difference between who you were and who you are, and you only learned one word every day. So this happens with everything in life.
Oh, I could have continued talking with you, and it's going so beautifully, but unfortunately, I think our hour is up, and you need to get back as well. Thank you so much, Hector. Thank you so much, Francis, for first of all bringing this beautiful philosophy of Ikigai and translating it into language that common people with daily lives and daily chores can actually use in their lives and find that perfect sweet spot to arrive upon. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure our audience has absolutely enjoyed this.
Thank you very much to all of us. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much. And dear audience, we continue with the 8-day festival. So please stay subscribed and keep tuned into Vishwarang 2020 to witness the rest of the festival. Thank you.